Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. I'm Gabriel Morris and here are your top stories on Wednesday the 10th of September. UK's first super university. Shock announcement as Kent and Greenwich set to collaborate, becoming one of the largest institutions.
This is going to make the staff and probably the students feel that everything is done behind closed doors. It's a public institution using public money and they really need to be more transparent.
Getting ready to roll. South Eastern plans a trial run of trains from Sheerness to London.
It will be really great so that people can actually easily get onto the island in the summer, enjoy our fantastic beaches.
And coastal celebrations. Dover District Council mark a major step in their multi-million-pound regeneration project.
It's a monumental day, quite honestly. You know, this is the topping out ceremony, not the culmination, because obviously we haven't finished it just yet. But you know, this is a great step forward.
Well, thank you for your company tonight. Our top story. Staff and students of two universities received the news of a new potential collaboration. The University of Kent and Greenwich will be working together in a first-of-its-kind structure, making it the biggest institution in the south of England. With prospect of new opportunities for education, some remain concerned over the transparency of the merge. Well, Daisy Page has been looking into this today and sent us this report.
Two universities stood together in one campus, each a part of wider institutions, to become what they are calling the UK's first super university. Coming together under one structure, each will remain individual with their brand, identity and community presence. But with financial concerns in the past leading to some courses being phased out, some question the reasoning of the announcement.
So it's no secret that there's been lots of financial pressures for the University of Kent, but also for many other universities in the sector. And we've seen universities respond to this in different ways. Again, you know, at the University of Kent, we've had to make a number of changes to ensure that we're in a better financial position. But this new collaboration is about much more than that. So this is actually about how we can create new growth and opportunity, that we can really make sure we're in a position that we've got security and resilience. And that enables us to continue that academic excellence and provision for our students, but also we hope provide our staff with more security, more certainty and better prospects in the future.
Informed through email, some staff said they were also messaged over Teams, and others, including the MP, found out through social media and news outlets, leaving a feeling of uncertainty.
I think, you know, I have regular meetings with the university. I have far more meetings with the university the union reps and the student union groups, who have all been really concerned and really affected by all of the waves of redundancies that we've had over the last few years. It's often quite hard to get straight or direct answers from the university management. And yet again, this is going to make the staff and probably the students feel that everything is done behind closed doors. It's a public institution using public money, and they really need to be more transparent.
There was an all-staff briefing at both institutions today. We know at the Kent briefing no questions were taken, but there is a planned question forum for all staff tomorrow. It is quiet on the University of Kent Canterbury campus, as many students are still set to return from their summer holidays. But this morning, students and staff found out about the collaboration of the two universities. For those who have spoken to me, they've said that they've been left unsure what this means for them and their future.
At the moment, it has no implications. For the next year, things will go on as usual. After that, we don't know. The whole sector is in a crisis, so I think it's safe to assume that all jobs are ever so slightly at risk across the sector in the UK.
While there is said to be no changes for students, some on the campus see the prospects of the plans to help keep them studying in Kent.
I'm part of the University of Kent, but my med school is already a collaboration between lots of different people, so I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. The university has struggled previously, so I think it would be nice if that means that it can keep going.
I walked into the lab this morning. My co-worker said that we're collaborating with them now, so I'm, I guess, excited. We'll see. I'll pop over there, see what facilities they have and see if I can make use of it. Now that we collaborate, you know, it's only fair.
If you combine 2 or 3 universities together and become one super uni, as I think it was scored on one of the posts, it would just have better management.
If approved, it would be established for the academic year beginning autumn 2026. The change brings hope and concern for the future of Kent's higher education. Daisy Page for KMTV in Canterbury.
Well, a huge shake-up on its way, and the details started to come through on that today. Yeah, you were on the Canterbury campus today and the Medway campus, too, owned by University of Kent. Medway, obviously a bit of Greenwich in there as well, and Canterbury Christchurch. What has the atmosphere been like on these campuses today, speaking to staff who only really found out about it this morning at 8 a.m?
Yeah, well, today, obviously, we've had a bit of rain, we've had a bit of sun, and I feel like it's really reflected in people's opinions as well. But today on the Canterbury campus in particular, it was really quiet, and I don't think that's any other reason than students aren't back yet. We've got about 4 weeks before students come back. So it was quiet. Trying to talk to people was a little bit difficult because obviously we had a few students, we had a few staff members, but they're all off busy doing some things. But I was lucky to be able to speak to a few.
Yeah, who did you speak to?
So I managed to speak to a couple people off camera because they weren't sure if they could talk on camera about it. So many of them did say that they had just seen the message. Obviously, I got there quite early this morning. A lot of them had just found out. Some had found out from news outlets. One person said that they found out through a Teams message. Others said that they've just read the email as I approached them and to ask some questions on it. One person I was speaking to said that he was actually just heading off to an 11 a.m. meeting. As we heard in my report, there was 11 a.m. meeting, and there's apparently another meeting happening tomorrow where questions can be asked for University of Kent staff.
I'm sure many staff will appreciate that, as there are some fears, as you've been telling us, around this move, what this will mean for staff. There's been some quite critical voices on this.
Yeah, so the University and College Union, obviously quite controversial thing today that's been said, the merger, which some people are calling it. But there were some strong words in their statement. They said that this isn't a merger, it is a takeover. Kent is an institution under severe financial stress and Greenwich is seizing control. So that's just a slight snippet of their statement that they released today. And they said that both staff and students at both institutions will be alarmed by today's announcement, especially as many have heard about the plans through news. And that was echoed about when I was speaking to people today. They were saying that they've seen most of it just as they were scrolling on their phones walking past me. And some of the people I spoke to at the campus, in particular one person was saying that they actually might start rethinking a job as well, because previously one of his colleagues did, and he said that his colleague was actually ahead of the curve there because there was just so much uncertainty. But we have had a lot of other positive feedback as well. KCC has said that they've had a long-standing partnership with both Universities of Kent and University of Greenwich, and that they're a major employer and play a vital role in supporting local skills, education and economic growth. They say that they're actually welcoming this merger as a creative response to financial pressures facing universities. And one other thing that we've been hearing a lot today from people is a lot of people have just said it's not just this one university, it's actually a lot of universities facing this problem, and a few people said to me that they've always been expecting a change and they weren't surprised that this change and new structure has happened. And the Kent Union has also made a statement saying that the decision has not been made. This is the beginning of the exploration process, but their role is to always put students first.
Daisy, thank you for bringing us those details. And we'll hear more from Medway Council later in the programme, but now 3 migrants, including 2 children, believed to have died crossing the English Channel overnight. French officials say the victims were likely found in the passage of the Pas de Calais. In a separate incident nearby, 3 people remain missing whilst another vessel also got into difficulty. Authorities say smuggler networks bear responsibility for these tragedies as police, firefighters and rescue crews scrambled to help. It comes just days after a similar incident. Now, Sheerness, which has been without a direct train line to London, could see the return for service for the first time in nearly 40 years. South Eastern is planning to run a trial of the service, which MP Kevin McKenna says will boost employment and tourism. However, South Eastern says it's too early in planning to determine if this scheme will be a success. Reporter Joe Crosley has more.
A town that has been without direct services to London for almost 4 decades could see them return. Since 1989, passengers travelling between Sheerness and the capital have had to sit and wait at Sittingbourne before changing and carrying on their journey. But today, Kent Online can reveal that South Eastern is having early conversations about bringing back those services. The scheme, which is understood to be run as a trial at first, is already being backed by Sittingbourne and Sheppey MP Kevin McKenna.
I think it's got those sort of double whammy for the island in terms of if people are working in, able to get higher paid jobs, they'll be spending more money in the community here. But also, Sheerness-on-Sea, the clues in the name, it is a seaside resort if it's nothing. It will be really great so that people can actually easily get onto the island in the summer, enjoy our fantastic beaches.
Meanwhile, Jenny Herkett, who runs the Criterion Museum in Bluetown, Sheerness, believes direct trains would change things in the town, which is one of England's poorest, according to Kent County Council's data.
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, we used to have one before. If we can have it again, that would really boost tourism and make island life so much easier for everyone.
South Eastern says it is too early in its conversations for it to comment on the project. Reporter Joe Crossley in Sheerness.
Well, it's been called for so long, hasn't it? Anyway, we're going to take a quick break now, but coming up we'll have our health expert, Dr. Julian Spinks, in the studio with all the latest headlines. See you then.
Coverage of news, sport and leisure. In Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section. And head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster. And the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including special specialist Jill's report. Enjoy weekly digital.
Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. Now let's take a look at some of the health headlines making news across Kent. Now, for the first time, NHS England has published league tables rating the performance of hospital trusts, with specialist hospitals taking the top slots. So what does this mean for patients? And across the UK, more than 1,000 people with suspected dementia will be offered blood tests for Alzheimer's disease, a breakthrough that could revolutionise diagnosis. Joining me now is Dr. Julian Spinks. Well, Julian joins me in the studio now. So this week, yesterday, we've heard that the NHS has released new league tables ranking healthcare trusts across England, which also reveal where Kent stands, with Maidstone, Tunbridge Wells Trust topping the top of the list. So what do you think these rankings will mean for patients across the county? What do you think they'll look at this and see?
They're taking a leaf out of the Blair era, where they had similar rankings, and the whole idea was supposed to be to introduce some sort of competition to be the best and raise standards because of that. Interestingly, those previous league tables ended in 2010 because they felt they weren't very reliable, and the big problem is, how do you judge how well a hospital is doing? And what they're doing is looking at a series of criteria, including how they're dropping waiting lists, how quickly you get seen, how many people are seen within the 18-week limit, and financial things. Then they're comparing different types. So you've got acute hospital trusts, the big things we're talking about. You've got ambulance services, and you've got other sort of non-acute services. And they then produce these rankings. Now, interestingly, if you don't succeed in producing financial balance, you automatically get knocked down to level 3. 1 and 2 is supposed to be good and reasonable. 3 and 4 is supposed to be poor and very poor. So you could have a situation where a hospital actually is doing very well from patient care point of view, but because they've overspent, they're going to be knocked down the league table.
So do you think these rankings will hold trusts more accountable and encourage improvement, or could there be unintended consequences? Maybe you're just alluding there about the different bandings.
I think the big danger is with any of these things is that people, rather like working to exams when you're at school, they work to the league table. So things that are not on there, there's a danger they get dropped or they're moved away. Likewise, some trusts who are already in financial difficulties will have a real problem. Do they go for improved patient care, knowing that that won't bring them up the list, or will they just go the financial savings, where the patient may be getting worse care, but actually they move up to level 2?
Well, it's more on this on Kent Online. You can have a look at what your local trust is like and how it compares to the rest of Kent and also the country. But let's move on to the next headline. New blood test trial for Alzheimer's has just begun at NHS clinics in the UK. Just explain to me a little bit of how this works, and is it going to be a game changer? I love to use that word.
Well, Alzheimer's, in there's a build-up of 2 proteins in the brain. One's called amyloid, the other's called tau. And this blood test looks for something called p-tau, it's a variant of that in the blood. And the big hope is that it'll move the accuracy of testing up. One of the problems we've had for a long time is actually deciding whether someone has got Alzheimer's. And we do have some tests, but some of them are invasive, such as lumbar punctures, or the special scans and so on. But overall, the diagnostic accuracy is about 70%. That means, 30%, nearly a third of people will get missed out. This new test, they say it will be 90%, but obviously they've got to do the work, so they're going to take over 1,000 people with a sort of pattern very similar to the general population, and testing them and seeing, and also doing some of the other tests to show whether they match.
If the trial is successful, do you think this could become standard across the NHS?
Yes, hopefully it's not too expensive, and as soon as you run these tests in more people, it actually gets cheaper per test.
And I guess the quicker you get diagnosed, is there more?
Absolutely. If it gives a quick way to do that. Now, that'll only detect Alzheimer's. There are other types of dementia, such as ones caused by lots of mini strokes and so on, that won't be detected, so it won't completely replace some of the other tests we do. But if it's something that can happen quickly, particularly if it's something you could do in general practice, then that's a big step forward.
And how important is it to have more reliable diagnosis tools, and what could this mean for patient care in the coming years?
We now know that you can actually get more if you treat people earlier. It's like cancer. The earlier you pick this up, the more you can help people. We haven't got a cure yet, but at the same time, moving in and doing it earlier makes that difference. And so early testing and easy testing is really a very, very good thing to aim for.
Julian, thank you so much for your time, as always, and you'll be back here next week. Thank you. OK, Dover District Council has held a topping out ceremony to celebrate a milestone in its multi-million-pound regeneration plan. Council and business leaders gathered to mark construction of the highest point of a new multi-purpose community centre largely funded by the government. Reporter Alfie Rowe went to Dover to find out more.
On the roof of this building site in the centre of Dover, celebrations are underway. With construction reaching the top floor, spirits are just as high.
It's a monumental day, quite honestly. You know, this is the topping out ceremony, not the culmination, because obviously we haven't finished it just yet. But, you know, this is a great step forward to deliver, you know, a regeneration opportunity for the district, something that we can be rightfully proud of.
Fitting its name, the Dover Beacon redevelopment plan hopes to create an inspiring hub for the local community. Upon completion, the 4-storey project will be a business, creative and education centre. With £20 million coming in from the government, Dover District Council promise it will bring £90 million in economic gain to the area.
It's an opportunity for us to perhaps act as a conduit to bring people together, to look at how we can work digitally with our new studio that's going to be based here.
We assembled a team that people were local as much as possible. The contractors are quite local and people really do want to do something good here.
It's going to be so good for our students. Just standing here looking at some of the classrooms, they're going to have a view of the sea and a view of Dover Castle. I mean, what more can you ask for, really? Fantastic facilities.
Although it's all smiles now, the regeneration of Kent's famous coastal town has not always been smooth sailing.
It has had some major challenges in that the archaeology of the site was, part of it was of international significance. So there was challenges there. There were challenges around it being very close to the river level and the flood. And equally, they had to sit in an historic town centre. It hasn't come without its challenges. It was the collaboration of the team that came up with plans to overcome those challenges.
As the project remains on schedule, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But with the building's completion expected in spring 2026, Dover's transformation is a work in progress. Alfie Rowe for KMTV in Dover.
Well, it's been a rainy day, hasn't it? Is it going to stay that way for the coming days? Let's have a look at the forecast. Tonight looking calm with temperatures around 14 to 15, about 13 down in Tunbridge Wells. Tomorrow morning, similar wind speeds with some rain in the south of the county. Clouds elsewhere, temperatures around 14 degrees. Into the afternoon, sun showers across the board. Winds rising to 14 miles an hour, but temperatures around 17 to 18 in Maidstone. And here's your outlook. Friday and Saturday bringing sun and showers with highs of 19, rising to highs of 20 on Sunday, with rain clearing by the end of the weekend. And now don't forget you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all our latest reports, including this one about the Medway Dragons, who are just a win away from competing in a prestigious Challenge Cup.
It's the half-time break at the finals of the London and East Men's Premier Division, and even though they've gone almost unbeaten this season, the Medway Dragons are behind to Elmbridge Eagles by 18 points. And if they don't win here, their hopes of getting to the Challenge Cup could be over. Try after try has come in, and all hope seems lost, but the Dragons love nothing if not a comeback. As soon as the break is over, the Dragons start scoring and they just don't stop, with Mason O'Neill scoring 4 by himself.
I think it was from the half-time talk, really. We got a bit of an earful. I agree with this, and from what the rest of the boys said, it wasn't our best start, and if in fact I think it was the worst start. So we got an earful, and I think a couple of subs impacted how the game went, and obviously come away with a result. Our emotions don't sum up, really. We've been working all year to lead to this point. The game started how we didn't want it to start, but I think the boys managed to turn it around pretty quick and come away with a result.
The rain started to come down, and with it the Dragons managed to clinch the win, 36-18.
Yeah, we just went back to the basics. Our coach Martin came and spoke to us and just said we got to play simple, get back to some one-up rugby league and if we start doing that, because of the size of the boys that we've got and the weight of the boys that we've got coming on to play, we knew we'd be able to get the better of them, because we've done that at their place earlier in the season, and we did that when they visited us earlier in the season as well. So we just knew we've got this. We've been in this situation before. We know that we can pull it back, and that's what we ended up doing. And what a second half it was.
The Eagles had a strong start but suffered injuries in the first half, while the Dragons conserved their energy.
I think it was a few factors. It weren't just one. I think we got a bit complacent. Obviously, the first try from Medway was a great try, well worked, and we just didn't stop their momentum. And everyone knows once Medway built that momentum, you're never going to stop it. They're coming downhill, wind's behind them. Obviously, it's their home ground, and yeah, once they had that momentum, the fans were behind them. The fans were great, and we didn't stop it, and they just kept building and building and building.
And once the clouds darkened, the heavens opened, the rain came pouring down. The Dragons proved after 4 years of waiting why they are the kings of the southeastern skies. If the Dragons win their next tournament match, they'll get through to the first round of the Challenge Cup. But first, they'll have to survive a weekend of celebrations. Finn McDermott for KMTV in Medway.
Yeah, great stuff. Time for a quick break now, but coming up, we'll have a recap of our top stories tonight. Our main one tonight is how the University of Kent is set to merge with the University of Greenwich, creating a first-of-its-kind collaboration. We'll be speaking to the Deputy Leader of Medway Council to find out what this means for the local area. Is it a positive thing or not? We'll find out in a few minutes. See you then. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live here on KMTV. I'm Gabriel Morris. Let's have a look back at the top stories making the news agenda across Kent on Wednesday, the 10th of September. UK's first super university, Kent and Greenwich, set to collaborate, becoming one of the largest institutions. Getting ready to roll. South Eastern plans trial of trains from Sheerness to London. And coastal celebrations. Dover District Council mark a major step in their multi-million-pound regeneration project. Yeah, it looks like we had a couple of technical difficulties there on your headline clips, but you got a gist, didn't you? But first tonight, staff and students of two universities received the news of a new collaboration today. University of Kent and Greenwich will be working together in a first-of-its-kind structure, making it the biggest institution in the south of England. With prospect of new opportunities for education, some remain concerned over the transparency of the merge. Daisy Page has the story.
Two universities stood together in one campus, each a part of wider institutions, have announced their collaboration to become the UK's first super university. Coming together under one structure, each will remain individual with their brand, identity and community presence. But with financial concerns in the past leading to some courses being phased out, some question the reasoning of the announcement.
So it's no secret that there's been lots of financial pressures for the University of Kent, but also for many other universities in the sector. And we've seen universities respond to this in different ways. Again, you know, at the University of Kent, we've had to make a number of changes to ensure that we're in a better financial position. But this new collaboration is about much more than that. So this is actually about how we can create new growth and opportunity, that we can really make sure we're in a position that we've got security and resilience. And that enables us to continue that academic excellence and provision for our students, but also we hope provide our staff with more security, more certainty and better prospects in the future.
Informed through email, some staff said they were also messaged over Teams, and others, including the MP, found out through social media and news outlets, leaving a feeling of uncertainty.
I think, you know, I have regular meetings with the university. I have far more meetings with the university the union reps and the student union groups, who have all been really concerned and really affected by all of the waves of redundancies that we've had over the last few years. It's often quite hard to get straight or direct answers from the university management. And yet again, this is going to make the staff and probably the students feel that everything is done behind closed doors. It's a public institution using public money, and they really need to be more transparent.
There was an all-staff briefing at both institutions today. We know at the Kent briefing no questions were taken, but there is a planned question forum for all staff tomorrow. It is quiet on the University of Kent Canterbury campus, as many students are still set to return from their summer holidays. But this morning, students and staff found out about the collaboration of the two universities. For those who have spoken to me, they've said that they've been left unsure what this means for them and their future.
At the moment, it has no implications. For the next year, things will go on as usual. After that, we don't know. The whole sector is in a crisis, so I think it's safe to assume that all jobs are ever so slightly at risk across the sector in the UK.
While there is said to be no changes for students, some on the campus see the prospects of the plans to help keep them studying in Kent.
I'm part of the University of Kent, but my med school is already a collaboration between lots of different people, so I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. The university has struggled previously, so I think it would be nice if that means that it can keep going.
I walked into the lab this morning. My co-worker said that we're collaborating with them now, so I'm, I guess, excited. We'll see. I'll pop over there, see what facilities they have, and see if I can make use of it. Now that we collaborate, you know, it's only fair.
If you combine 2 or 3 universities together and become one super uni, as I think it was scored on one of the posts, it would just have better management.
Set to be established for the academic year beginning autumn 2026, the change brings hope and concern for the future of Kent's higher education. Daisy Page for KMTV in Canterbury.
Well, joining me on the line now is Councillor Teresa Murray, Deputy Leader of Medway Council. Teresa, thank you so much for joining us. This news of the merger, is it welcome news for Medway?
Always good to be here, Gabriel. And yes, look, I think overall it is welcome news for Medway. We've had very regular meetings with the Vice-Chancellors, and indeed Mid-Kent College as a group for quite a long period of time. And this has been on the cards because we know that things for universities are changing. Our campus, the Medway campus, is quite an innovative one actually, because we've already got shared facilities there. That the library is shared, the School of Pharmacy it is actually shared between the universities and other facilities too. So the ability to do things together on one campus has been at the very heart of our campus in Medway. And this perhaps is a kind of bigger expanded version of what universities can achieve together to protect jobs, to make sure that we maximise opportunities for the students, and that we keep the campus going.
Yeah, you say you've been involved. How long has those discussions have been going on for? Have you been directly involved as well in this discussion of the merging of these two universities into a supergroup?
We haven't been directly involved in the merger discussions because that's for the two organisations. But as a general case, we've been talking about how we can promote the fact that Medway is a university area, that we've got this great campus here, that it can offer all kinds of flexibilities and opportunities for students. And we'd even started to talk about a way to sort of relaunch the campus. The campus itself, the changing patterns of attendance and different expectations that students have, particularly about the association with going to university and what it can lead to in terms of a job, have kind of all come together, and now the organisations have decided to merge. I think generally that probably is a good thing. But obviously I understand that there are concerns. I've heard what the unions have got to say. I hope that they'll take a full part in the consultation and come forward with ideas on how to make the campus.
Could be a takeover. Do you worry the same thing, that Greenwich could take over the University of Kent? Because that's what the UCU is saying.
Well, that is what the UCU are saying today, but you know, it's being presented by the organisations as a merger, and for me, I think it's about maximising the opportunities and the offer to students, as well as making efficiencies like back office efficiencies, so that the campus itself and all the courses have got a good future. So I don't want people to be fearful. Well, I hope that there won't be job cuts, that there may be cost efficiencies if there are back office savings. But I think if we can offer a bigger programme of courses to the students who are at Greenwich and the students who are at Kent because of the merger, that would be very welcome.
And what do you think this now means for the docking station proposal going forward? What are the plans which are going ahead as we speak?
Well, the docking station is coming into place. I'm very excited about it. I haven't heard anything negative about it. Hopefully it will go ahead and be part of what will eventually be an expanded offer. It's really exciting for the creative communities, for everybody who's interested in technology. It's something that I think can put us on the map. So I certainly don't want to get involved in any scaremongering about that, and I'm sure that neither Greenwich or Kent universities would want to either. It's about opportunity and what we can offer locally here, because after all, Gabriel, if people come here to study, I want them to stay and work and have good jobs here if that's at all possible. And so the docking station is absolutely part of how that can come into fruition.
Teresa, thank you so much for your time as always today. Next, tributes have poured out for a beloved teacher in Rainham whose sudden death shocked the whole school. Rita Bribby, for Year 5 teacher who spent 7 years teaching the pupils at Thames Valley Primary School, was found dead in her home on Monday. Floral tributes, messages, balloons and gifts are lining the fence where she worked as heartbroken staff and pupils mourn the 45-year-old. Messages from students include a Year 3 pupil saying, "Even if you passed away, we will always be here for you." And another note read, "I'm going to miss you millions." Well, we can actually hear from the head of the primary school now on what she had to say about the sudden passing.
Everyone is in absolute massive shock. Obviously, you don't expect this. She was very young, and she was just such a force. You know, everyone knew her. She would say hello to everybody. Didn't matter if you were in a class and you weren't in her class. She would speak to all of the children, whoever they are. She would speak to all of the staff, and we just feel like there's a hole you know, since she's not been here, we're all looking around for her, and you know, you really feel the fact that she's not here. I think it's really important, especially for our children, that they can come together and that they can leave something for her, that they can actually show they love her and that they'll miss her. And it has brought people together. You know, staff and families this morning have shared in our grief together. And, you know, it doesn't make it any less painful not having her here, but it certainly helps being together.
Next, a couple have been left devastated after yet another popular wedding venue in Kent, the Blazing Donkey Country Hotel near Sandwich, has gone into administration. Prospective bride and grooms have been left to find alternative arrangements, with some due to get married this week. One couple, Kenna Nicholson and Anthony Russell, who were to be married this Friday. They booked the wedding 18 months ago, and the bride-to-be stated that she's devastated over the news, sympathising with the owner, but stating the way they've gone about it is disgusting. Well, meanwhile, a statement from the owner says he was understood to be in poor health now, reads that they acknowledge the disappointment this may cause the couples affected by these circumstances and extend their deepest regret, and their action had to suddenly become necessary. Now it's time for a quick break, but coming up for the final part of Kent Tonight this evening, we take a look at the topping out ceremony held by Dover District Council to celebrate a milestone in its multi-million-pound regeneration. And we speak about Prince Harry's first visit to the country in 3 years, where he met a young child from Kent. See you then. KMTV. Join us every And welcome back to the final part of Kent Tonight on your Wednesday evening. Now, Dover District Council has held a topping out ceremony to celebrate a milestone in its multi-million-pound regeneration plan. Council and business leaders gathered to mark construction of the highest point of a new multi-purpose community centre, largely funded by the government. Reporter Alfie Rowe went to Dover to find out more.
On the roof of this building site in the centre of Dover, celebrations are underway. With construction reaching the top floor, spirits are just as high.
It's a monumental day, quite honestly. You know, this is the topping out ceremony, not the culmination, because obviously we haven't finished it just yet. But, you know, this is a great step forward to deliver, you know, a regeneration opportunity for the district, something that we can be rightfully proud of.
Fitting its name, the Dover Beacon redevelopment plan hopes to create an inspiring hub for the local community. Upon completion, the four-storey project will be a business, creative and education centre. With £20 million coming in from the government, Dover District Council promise it will bring £90 million in economic gain to the area.
It's an opportunity for us to perhaps act as a conduit to bring people together, to look at how we can work digitally with our new studio that's going to be based here.
We assembled a team that people were local as much as possible. The contractors are quite local and people really do want to do something good here.
It's going to be so good for our students. Just standing here looking at some of the classrooms, they're going to have a view of the sea and a view of Dover Castle. I mean, what more can you ask for, really? Fantastic facilities.
Although it's all smiles now, the regeneration of Kent's famous coastal town has not always been smooth sailing.
It has had some major challenges in that the archaeology of the site was, part of it was of international significance. So there was challenges there. There were challenges around it being very close to the river level and the flood. And equally, they had to sit in an historic town centre. It hasn't come without its challenges. It was the collaboration of the team that came up with plans to overcome those challenges.
As the project remains on schedule, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But with the building's completion expected in spring 2026, Dover's transformation is a work in progress. Alfie Rowe for KMTV in Dover.
Now for a look at the weather. Tonight looking calm, temperatures 14, 15, 13 down in Tunbridge Wells, wind speeds hitting 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, similar wind speeds with some rain in the south of the county, clouds elsewhere and temperatures of 14 degrees. Going into the afternoon, sun and showers across the board with winds rising to 14 miles an hour, temperatures around 17 degrees and 18 in Maidstone. And here's your outlook for the coming days. Some heavy rain on Friday and Saturday, I'm afraid. But on Sunday, looks like it's clearing up, some cloudy weather. Lows of 19, highs of 20 for your weekend. And now don't forget you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across Kent by logging on to our website. It's kmtv.co.uk. There you'll find all our reports, including this one about a Herne Bay man who completed his second English Channel swim to mark his 60th birthday.
Now, not many people are able to swim the English Channel, let alone do it twice. But I'm here in Herne Bay today, where Paul Parish lives, and you've done this twice. And I mean, what made you decide to do that?
Well, in 2014, I did swim the English Channel as part of something called the Arch to Arc, which is this insane triathlon where you run from Marble Arch down to Dover, then you swim the English Channel, and then you cycle to the Arc de Triomphe. And it was wonderful that I'd done it, but I wore a wetsuit. And official channel rules means that if you have any aid at all, as in a wetsuit, it doesn't count as an official crossing. Now at the time I didn't care, I was just ecstatic to have done what I'd done. But over the years, it kind of began to niggle at me that I'd never done it properly. So I'm 60 this year and I just thought, I've got to stop this thing eating away at me. I'm going to give it another go and just do it in a swimming costume, with a hat and goggles, and try and get an official channel swim.
And so, I mean, you had your partner and the crew alongside you in the boat, but you did have a bit of extra help. Can you tell me about that?
I did have some extra help, yeah. I was struggling. It's like 11 and a half hours into swim. You're really starting to feel it. It's really biting. And I looked up and I could see everybody in the boat suddenly get all with their cameras out. And I kind of thought, what's that? And I looked up, and as I looked up, this dolphin just broke the water in front of me, you know, right close up to me. And then I could see them all below me. They'd come back and swam below me, and they were just there. And apparently, according to everybody on the boat, there'd been loads of them all playing around, all on my side of the boat. And I kind of think they were just there because it gave me such a lift. I felt so amazed that they'd done it, and apparently my speed picked up everything.
And you know, you said that since then people have been sending you a lot of information about dolphins, saying that they're quite empathetic. Do you feel like there was a reason why they joined you?
Yeah, I think they knew. I think they knew that I was struggling. And I just think they're that kind of animal. There's so many stories about them really giving people a lift, getting in between. I know one swimmer who said that they were around him when there were some sharks around, that they've got this kind of way of empathising with us, giving us a hand. There's so many stories about it. And I kind of like to think that might have been the case with my little pod of dolphins.
And no less, you did this all for charity. So you had this extra help, but you have been helping people yourself. Can you tell us a bit about that and why you chose this charity?
Yeah, well, I'm actually the fundraising and marketing director of a charity called Aspire, and we're there to help people who've sustained a spinal cord injury. There's no cure for it, but we help them go from injury to independence. Over the years, we've been really good at fundraising through open water swimming. I think we're unique in the charity world in terms of the kind of program that we've got. So that's been a big part of my life in terms of my professional life, but also personally, you know, it's helped, you know, I've got very involved in it myself, and I thought it was a really good way to kind of raise money for the charity, say, you know, I don't just talk the talk, I can try and walk the walk, and I'm also retiring from the charity, so in March, and I thought it'd be kind of a really lovely farewell thing for me and to try and raise a load of money before I go.
Excellent. And how much have you raised so far?
So at the moment it's just over £14,000. In fact, it's about 16.5 with gift aid. So yeah, so it's a good chunk of money. So I'm really, I mean, people have been so kind, so lovely. I think they just want to see me go. I think it's something like that. But they have been so lovely. So got a lot of people to thank.
So you've managed to raise all this money. You've managed to swim with dolphins. Does that encourage you to do it again, maybe for your 70th?
No, never again. That's it. That's me and channel swimming over. But it's been an absolute blast, and it's been a real adventure.
Excellent. Well, if you're planning on swimming with dolphins this year on your holiday, you might not need to travel as far as you think. Kristen Hawthorne for KMTV in Herne Bay.
And we're nearly out of time this evening, but before we go, everyone's going to be talking about Prince Harry tonight, as reports are coming out that he's just entered Clarence House and could possibly be meeting King Charles. Well, he's been in England now and the UK for a few days, and on Monday it marked the 20th Well Child Awards, where seriously ill children, young people and carers are awarded for their achievements. And among those was 13-year-old Grace Tutt from Sevenoaks, who was awarded the National 2025 Well Child Awards, and was met with royal company to congratulate Prince Harry. The Duke of Sussex, amongst other celebrities, attended the event, with the Prince personally meeting and sharing a laugh with Grace. Well, here to tell us more about it is our reporter Kai Way, who joins me in the studio now. Well, what a lovely opportunity for Grace there. She was met by young royalty on Monday. See it on the screen there. Tell us a little bit about that meeting, what was said, and a little bit more about the event.
Of course. So a bit about Grace first. She is, as you said, from Sevenoaks in Kent, and she is wheelchair-bound after an incident that took place in May of 2024. She was in a school bus crash which left her with life-changing injuries and is paralysed from the waist down. However, after a year in hospital and a lot of rehabilitation, she has come off a feeding tube and a ventilator, which she used to need every single day. She's been described as full of character, extremely resilient and courageous, and often made friends with other children at the hospital. And her carer, who's seen next to her, was actually the one who nominated her for the award, and said that she's never cared for a child as inspiring as Grace.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about what happened on that day.
Of course. As you can see in the photo, she was greeted by Prince Harry, and they had a very warm conversation. Yeah. celebrating her achievements and how she is an inspiration to others. The other celebrities attending the event were Molly May Hague, Ronnie Wood, Jamie Lang, and Peter Andre, with the cast of Hercules the Musical and Joss Stone providing entertainment. A bit about Prince Harry, though. As you said, he's making... there's a lot of news around him and his visit to the UK. Since this is his first visit, this is his longest visit since 2022, when Queen Elizabeth II passed away, and he was spotted at her grave laying a wreath on the 3rd anniversary of her death. And also, just breaking out today, he was spotted going into Clarence House, and after a bit of unsureness, he visited the King, his father, King Charles.
Stay tuned to see what happens on that then, won't we?
Yeah.
Well, Kai, thank you for bringing us those details. What an opportunity for Grace. I'm sure she's an inspiration for many across the county. We've talked about her story many times here on Kent Tonight. You can read more about her story on Kent Online. Well, that's it for us this evening. I'll be back at 8 p.m. with the late bulletin. But before then, if you're at a loose end, you can check out our website. It's kmtv.co.uk. There you can check out some of our special programmes, such as the Kent Politics Show, which returned from its summer recess last Friday, and of course the Kent Film Club with Chris Deasy, amongst others. And we also have all our old reports on our website, kmtv.co.uk once more. As I said, back at 8 p.m. with your late bulletin. But for me and the rest of the Kent Tonight team, have a very lovely evening. We'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.